Hi Dreamers, welcome back. I have a tutorial for you today that I know a lot of you have been looking forward to and are really wanting to know about, and that is how to contour using powder quickly and effectively. Contouring is something that everybody's talking about right now. It's that thing that makes Kim Kardashian look so good, and it's that thing that basically just kind of changes the landscape of your face. You can minimize things that you don't like. You can bring out things that you do like. And the best part about contouring with powder versus using foundation is it's quick. You can do it every day. You don't need a ton of products, and you don't even need to know your face shape, because everybody can pretty much do this the same way. So that's a huge bonus. You will need 3 different types of makeup brushes and 3 different products. I'm going to be using all makeup brushes from the Sonia Kashuk collection that has these little roses on it, which you can get at Target. But you do not need to use these brushes. You can use any brushes that perform a similar function. You also need a bronzer, a blush, and a highlighter. Now for your highlighter, you can use an actual highlighter, you can use a brightener, you can use a very pale blush, or you can use an eyeshadow. So there are lots of different options that you can use. So there's pretty much something around your house that you probably have that you can use to complete this look without having to go out and buy expensive products. I will show you what I use on a regular basis and some of the other products that I like for doing this particular look, so you can get a really good idea of some products that you can use. So grab all your stuff and let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to pull out my concealer. I have already put primer on my face. I'm just going to skip that step because we don't use the blending sponge for that. So I'm going to be using Hard Candy's Glamouflage today, and this is in the color Light. And I'm going to dab this on in my triangle. And I go right here on the corner of my eye too, because I tend to get a little bit dark. And I go around my nose as well, because I tend to get redness around my nose, especially in these allergy prone months. I get a lot of redness. So I'm just going to make that triangle with my finger. If you're using a doe foot applicator, then you can just use the applicator, and then I tend to get a little bit red on my chin too, so I'm just going to dab that on. Now I'm not really worried about getting this to blend. I'm just getting it in its location right now, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blending sponge and I'm just going to dab that in. And all I'm doing is just patting, and I'm using the smaller point so that I can get into some of those smaller areas, and I'm just patting. Now I'm going to take my foundation, and today I'm using Makeup Forever HD foundation in, let's see, I'm not sure what color this is in. It doesn't say, but it's probably one of their lighter colors. But what I do is I just put some on the back of my hand, and again I'm just going to sort of place this. I'm not really worried about getting it into its right locations. I'm just sort of more getting the product onto my face, sort of spread out a little bit. I'm going to go back to my beauty sponge, and I'm just going to, again, just tap that in. Making sure that I cover all areas of my face. And you may find that you like to use the larger part of the blending sponge for this, but I find that I just end up always sticking to that smaller end. So I'm just tapping it in, tap, 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 all over. And with kind of what's left, I like to give myself a little bit of base on my eyelid. But I'm just tapping that in. And then what you'll find is, what you end up with is you end up with some coverage that is really pretty good, but you can still kind of see the foundation. And what I do at this point is I take this blending sponge again, and I just kind of go in small circles, just very, very lightly, and blend that out from where I was tapping it in. Now there's a couple of tricks that you can do with this blending sponge that you can't do with the regular brush. The first thing is, if you find that you get too much foundation on, or you finished getting your foundation on and it's just too heavy, then you can wet the blending sponge and then you can go back and repeat the process again, and it will lighten your foundation. If you have a foundation that you think is too thick or too heavy or gives you too much coverage, then you can wet the sponge and apply it. It'd be a great technique to use for over the summer to make your medium foundations more of a lighter foundation. You can do the same thing with concealers. I like the particular coverage that this Makeup Forever HD foundation gives me already, which is a medium coverage, and so I've just left the blending sponge dry. So now, as you can see, I still have really good coverage, but you can't see where the foundation is anymore. And you want to make sure that you go along that jawline so that you don't end up with extra there. And make sure that you blend out really good around those angles of your face. So now what I'm going to do is I am just going to finish up with some setting powder, and I use a setting powder for under my eyes and for my entire face. For under my eyes, I'm going to be using Laura Mercier's Secret Brightening Powder. And this is a little bit of a pricey product. I actually did a review a while back about this product versus the e.l.f. version of the product, and I really just like the Laura Mercier better. It is a bit pricey, but for the amount of product that you get and for how much you use at a time, it really is a fairly good value. So what I'm doing is I'm just tapping this brush, which is a Real Techniques Deluxe Crease Brush is what this is. And I just tap it on, and then with what's left, I just kind of give myself a swirl on my eyelids, because my eyelids tend to be very oily, and this helps to make my eyelids less oily throughout the day. And then I'm going to finish up with Makeup Forever HD's Micro Finish Powder. I did a review of this versus the e.l.f. one as well, and the e.l.f. one is just as good, so either one will work. And I'm just going to take this e.l.f. powder brush, and this product kind of goes everywhere because it is a micro powder. And I'm just going to finish that off. You could skip this powder step if you wanted to, or you could use any other powder. You don't need to use a micro finish powder, but I particularly like the effect that it gives me when my skin is done. So there you have it. That is how you use the blending sponge to get a nice, flawless foundation look. Thanks for watching today. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video and you'd like to see more makeup tool tutorials. I'll be happy to show you some. Just leave me a comment below. Let me know what it is that you want to see, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks for watching today. Bye!